Okay, I think, I suppose, and it doesn't really have to make sense. You just build something. Or I might eat them. Fantastic. Okay, I'm Hunter Lee Allen. I'm in a band called Chase Petra. We've existed for about 5 years now, and it is everything to me. I think I'm gonna create an abstract picture of my anger, if that's okay. I'm so good at being in front of cameras. I don't know if you noticed. Got it. He said if I was a reliable narrator, my voice wouldn't shake and I'd never stutter, which to me is just this like very masculine concept of like, you never use like, you never say it's all gotta be declarative, when in reality, like, my voice is shaking right now. I'm nervous to be here, sorry. But just because you sound uncertain of something doesn't mean that you are uncertain. And sometimes when something has truth, it makes your voice shake more because it's harder to say. So that's kind of where that lyric comes from. I'm using all red, by the way, because, you know, anger. I went through a breakup about like 8 months ago. Again, I was processing a lot of anger and coming back to myself and realizing that some things that I had believed about myself weren't true. And I think through the process of life, I had learned that I could trust everybody else's story more than my own, which is, it's such a bastardization of subjectivity because there's no like ultimate truth, right? I don't know what that is. There's no ultimate truth. There's just your experiences, and I had learned that like my experiences for whatever reason were not as valuable as other people's. It's such a setup for failure and such a like, it's vulnerable in all the wrong ways. And that's where I was unlearning how to trust other people more than myself. Still am, actually. I'm reading from the ground, I apologize. So I'm addressing the crowd again, and it tastes like the truth, but I sound uncertain. It's the same idea, it's the same concept of like, now I'm not only having a conversation with another, like a singular person, I'm telling everybody. I'm looking for gratification from, again, still everyone other than myself. Like, I am talking to my friends and I'm still seeking validation from them. And you know, like, friends are supportive and excellent people to lean on in times of need, but at some point you still have to believe yourself by yourself. You can't, like, you're just as capable of gaslighting yourself as other people are of gaslighting you. You know what I mean? That process was so haphazard and none of us knew what we were doing. We still don't in a lot of ways, but at the time it was just like, well, we got invited to do a song and then we stuck around for another one, and I guess we should probably put this on the internet. I don't know, we really were just like a bunch of friends just kind of doing stuff because the opportunities were there. There wasn't honestly a whole lot of intention on my part. It was just like, I love doing this, and you know, we have people around that are down to support us, so we just kept going. This is what my anger looks like so far. It's really around the edges. I don't do that on purpose, but I feel like that might mean something. I'm in the center and it's, anger makes you do things. You know what I mean? Like, sadness sucks because it just weighs you down, but anger is like, I am gonna get up and go for a walk and maybe like scream or something, which feels better than sitting around and crying, in my opinion. The next lyric is, now we're circling around the ring. It's 1v1, but here's the thing, you may be better in a fight, but I've got more to lose tonight. This again is speaking to like the breakup that I went through and how in that scenario, I think like he had me to lose, which is quite a bit, but I had also me to lose. Like if I was going to trust him more than I trusted myself in that moment, if I was gonna give up that fight, like I was gonna completely lose who I am as a person. That I think is a journey that I've been on since way before he showed up. Like my family life, all of that, like that, it all put me in this place, and I've spent the past year, basically, that's been a huge theme, putting myself first and fighting for myself, kind of like at any cost. Like, I matter and am important, and I'm trustworthy and a reliable narrator, and like, I guess that's kind of what the whole song's about, right? I don't know. It's a little bit selfish, I guess, but I don't really care anymore. Hypnosis, bring roses, don't blow this. I know that bliss lies in ignorance. I don't really know what I was thinking when I wrote that. Like, sometimes things just come out, and when I look at it in retrospect, like it's kind of like sardonic and sarcastic, because the whole idea of like bliss lies in ignorance, like if I had just not thought about it, like I probably could have lived my whole life in like subservience and been super depressed and never really like figured out why, which obviously isn't bliss. So I don't know. I think it might have just been me being a smartass, I guess, about, I'm gonna say it, like I like being a bitch. It's kind of a vibe. So yeah, that was where I was at during the chorus. Feels good. It doesn't feel like an obligation. It feels like a privilege for sure. I guess there's more pressure when it comes to releasing things, not to writing things. Like, I remember once we started getting some listens on our stuff, somebody was like, oh, well, this must be changing the way that you're writing. Like, you must be like doing things differently. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it hasn't really impacted the way that we write or record, because I think we've always done that for ourselves. But it does affect, like, when release day comes, I am way more nervous now. Like, putting Liminal out was just like, oh, we accidentally finished this, so I guess the world can have it. And this new stuff is a bit more like, oh god, I hope people actually like this. But again, not an obligation. Very happy to be doing it. You know what? I gotta add a wheel somewhere, because I think that, like, I'm steering the ship. That's what this is about. I'm gonna steer it from the top. The metaphor, a valve, but the metaphor stands, I think. This is now an industrial plant of anger. I used to be an angrier person. I don't think I've ever needed anger management per se, but it is, again, how I process a lot. And I think that there's something different about gender. Is so funny. I feel like a fairly masculine person, but I feel like, I mean, what's the difference between masculine and feminine rage, right? Like, I've seen people talk about it online constantly, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like my rage, I guess, is feminine, and for that reason it feels more productive, I guess, in terms of like typical, how do I say, stereotypes? I don't know, this is a complicated thing that I'm unpacking in front of you right now. I don't know. I value my anger a lot, and I don't really, like, when people are afraid of it, I find that kind of goofy. Like, you don't need to be around me then. There is no end to anger. I feel like I need something in the center, a central piece, and I don't know what that's gonna be. Maybe it should be a different color. Is anger actually red? It might be orange. I almost didn't write this lyric because I thought it was kind of brutal. If I move too slow, I'll lose myself in the undertow. So fuck off, Jack, I'm letting go. Which Jack from the Titanic didn't do anything wrong. I have no vested interest in wanting him to die, but he was simply a stand-in for whatever I was experiencing in that moment. So I felt kind of brutal about it, because I was like, fuck off, Jack, I'm letting go. Like, letting you drown. Jesus. But also, I don't want to die. I don't want to drown. So I said fuck it, and I included it, because there's violence in protecting yourself sometimes. There really is. It can't be helped. Like, sometimes people are bad, and you deserve to defend yourself, whether or not that includes violence. Am I allowed to say that? Is that a... Who cares? It's my take, it's how I feel. There's one little chonker right here. Oh, wait, is this right? Yes. It also kind of looks like a valve, but I'm choosing to believe it's a flower. This is my castle of rage. Building actual things is hard. What am I, a fucking engineer? If I'm writing when I'm like in the middle of feeling something, like really feeling it in the moment, I don't think that hard. It's just like whatever just kind of pours out. But sometimes I'll like write something very matter-of-factly, and then I'll take a second to look at it and think like, okay, well, like, what's a more interesting way of saying this, or how can I show this instead of telling this? Like, I go back to creative writing junior year of my high school career. But my favorite lyrics have all just kind of like come out in, I'd say a fairly dramatic person. And so when I am feeling things, I do tend to verbalize them with poetic language, which is embarrassing to an extent. But I'm learning how to not be embarrassed of it. Did you forget that I am not a pacifist? A scar well earned, from a love that was well worth it. Again, saying them out loud instead of singing them. So difficult. That was, in the context of this song, the only semi-nice thing I could say. I have never been scared to fight for people that I love or for things that I love. I'm just now including myself in that list of people and things. I will fight for myself now as well, not just others. And you know what? I learned something. It was worth it. Of course it was. And that's that on that. Okay, I'm looking forward to going on tour again, because we went on tour in November and December, and it changed my life in such a way that, like, people in the world are generally good. They are generally kind and want to help, and tour, like, just really reaffirmed that, and I'm so excited to, like, go have all new experiences and new places and do insane things that I never thought I could do with my friends, and I'm just so grateful to everybody that listens to our music, because I could not do that without any of you guys, and it's such an honor. So that's what I'm looking forward to. It's making my life. Give it a name? I've already said it, it's the Rage Castle. You walk in and you turn your little lever, and you turn the anger up, or you turn it down, and you know, let it out or you don't, but it's your Rage Castle. You're safe here.